Good evening. I want to welcome all of you to what is going to be an evening chat of Acsia founder Gigi has under both as an entrepreneur. So today the session is going to be moderated by Roy. Roy is one of the leading chartered accountants in Kerala. He's been associated with many of the what should I say that the iconic projects that we are seeing here. Many of the companies in Technopark, Roy has been associated with them very early, knows the business, knows the industry, knows investment. Roy is part of TiE, and through TiE, he is also part of a core member network. We've been part of some great discussions with respect to investment and the startup journey. Jijimon Chandran, I've known Gigi since 2001 or so. Gigi was part of my team when I was in Nest. So I was fortunate to be his manager. So we worked together in many projects before I moved out to start Jijimon Technologies, and then Gigi moved out to start Acsia Technologies. Axia's journey has been a fantastic journey. I'm sure Gigi, through Roy, will be able to understand the nice part of the journey as well as the challenges that Gigi faced in reaching this point. So, without further delay, let me welcome Roy and Gigi to the stage.
Good afternoon, everybody. Today's session we plan to arrange in such a way that I will have discussion with Gigi. Sometimes I may be asking questions, sometimes he will be narrating the journey, which will be followed by a Q&A session. We hope to wrap up this session by at least 6 o'clock. That's the target. So let me start by understanding from Gigi, because I know Gigi for the last maybe 4 or 5 years only, because once he became a star only, I started knowing him. Where did you start your career, or where did you have your education and things like that?
Good evening, good afternoon. I am originally from a rural village in Thrissur district, a place called Pudukad. My early education, everything was done in Thrissur, and all my studies were in Thrissur. And I would say I also started working in Thrissur itself as a solopreneur those days. That's where all it started. Yes, when I talk about my early days, when I try to recollect my childhood, yes, I can very vividly remember is my very deep interest in the electronics or whatever the gadgets we had. When I say gadget, it is a plural, but actually I had only a valve radio at home. That was the first gadget my first experience with the electronics, which actually inspired a lot. That's where it all started.
So how did you reach Trivandrum? Your career took you here, or?
Yeah, okay, I was just talking about that in our discussion. So even though I started immediately after the studies, I decided to pursue entrepreneurial path. I mean, those days, the word entrepreneurship itself is not known to me. I decided, because I was so passionate about electronics, seeing my passion, yes, I am so fortunate about that, like my parents decided to send me to study electronics and computer science. So even in the early days, as a school child, I got the opportunity to study in a school called Technical High Schools, where electronics is also taught. So those days I was so passionate about electronics, and so other than the classes, I always looked at utilizing what we taught in the classes and started assembling products. I mean, this is purely based on the reference designs available in the magazines, books like Electronics for You, which was, I mean, this helped me to apply the knowledge, whatever we are getting from the studies, and try to make it as a product. I could sell it to some of my friends and, yeah, mostly to the friends. So that's how I started. So and later on when I studied computer science, I found it, yes, I had a deep interest in electronics, a bit of knowledge in electronics. And then when I started studying about computer science, I found that it's really exciting to write programs. And I'm talking about 94, 95, that period, when I started writing programs, which I found an opportunity to make money out of that. Like, so the computers were getting popular those days, and many of the small and medium, or I would say mostly small businesses, were thinking about getting a computer, getting software developed for them. I'm talking about the retail shops and even wholesale shops. Even one of the largest development I did was for a film distribution company, where they had nearly 5-6 branches. So it was kind of like developing software for that local market, and then making good money at that time. And when I look back, yes, that was good amount of money, and which I thought, okay, that is my path. That's when happened to hear about, yes, the technological changes happening, the Windows getting introduced. I saw the applications being developed in Windows. I'm talking about Microsoft Windows 3.1 and 95, which gave a kind of like excitement that I felt like, okay, that is the next future. So, and nobody in my town was thinking about moving to Windows-based systems, and that's when I hear the stories of software being developed in Technopark for international clients. Then I thought, okay, it's time to move to Trivandrum. Yeah.
But first you went into the industry as an employee, am I right? In the organized industry.
That is the second part of it. Initially, it was my own. I don't want to call it as a startup, but yeah.
So the entrepreneur bug caught you somewhere around an age of 17, because
Maybe,
that's
yeah.
the time you are really getting into engineering.
Yeah. And much before that, I mean, school days, I would say 15, early 14, 13. Yes, I was, the radio I made, I am talking about, that was in the age of 14, 15.
So you were making a little bit of pocket money during the studies.
Exactly. The money is, when I look back, it's all being utilized to buy more and more such designs and reference designs and books.
So the profits getting invested has started early in life itself.
Yeah.
Because
I would
whatever,
say, yeah, all the I mean, I don't know whether the word profit is the right, but
yes.
but when I look back, it's all invested back into the building the next.
How did you get into this current startup? Because I call it a startup which has gone big. How did you, I mean, you were working with Nest for some time. Probably you were also looking at doing yourself something. But at what point did you take that decision to plunge full time into this, and why?
Why is, I always wanted to do this, I would say. I mean, that's the one reason when I look back. When I look back, the early ventures I tried by my own gave me a sense of that, like, okay, if that is the path, probably. But getting international exposure, this job really helped. So soon after joining this, I mean, I came to Trivandrum, worked in another small startup, and then moved to Nest, and that's when I got the opportunity to work for the global companies like Hitachi and later on for Mitsubishi. The shift is, when I look at yes, all these opportunities, I mean, especially working with Hitachi, I mean, known for world's some of the best quality processes and the best quality, I mean, the culture, especially in Japan, with the extreme customer centricity and highest quality, I would say that really helped to learn how to make products which products which never fails, or products which always catering to the needs of the customer at a highest level. So that expertise really helped, I would say. I mean, gave me enough confidence to think about something restarting what I have started much before. So I would say that that particular period, working with the Japanese customers, and even though it was working with initially with Hitachi, and then later on I got an opportunity to work for Mitsubishi. Through Mitsubishi, that's the time when I got into the automotive related software development. So most of my time, since I had a deep passion for electronics and software which controls the electronics, always wanted to be a embedded software engineer and embedded system developer or product developer. So the Mitsubishi was, I would say, was the really exciting opportunity, because prior to that I have worked in multiple industries through Hitachi. I mean, Hitachi's various divisions. The first one was the power plant. That's what I think Brajesh was talking about, writing software which controls or which monitors the power plant operations. And then the ATM machines, software written for ATM machines, because the moment Hitachi decided to bring their machines, ATM machines to India, they have, there is a conceptual difference between the Japanese ATMs and the traditional rest of the ATMs, because there is something called thin client and thick client. The Japanese ATMs are thick client machines, which is not suited for Indian market. So I got an opportunity to design something, to design a new protocol, convert a protocol emulator for that, which all gave a lot of experience, but I learned something that those are the industries kind of like in a saturated form.
So here again,
Yeah.
you came out of the security of having a paycheck on the month end. On the month end, you have the assurance paycheck.
I'm coming to that. So at one side, I was continuously learning about, since I had this in my mind, okay, trying to build a company, build a entrepreneurship in the software side, I was always trying out. Of course, those opportunities really helped me to do the experiments or learnings, I would say. In terms of like understanding the pain points of the customer and offering solutions. So those days, whether it is Hitachi or Mitsubishi, those days really helped me to validate some of my concepts, like, okay, if you are able to offer solutions to your customer, then customer would definitely buy that product. So those days, I would say it really helped. So I would say it was not entrepreneurial, but intrapreneurial activity. And automotive was found really exciting, mainly because it's continuously being progressed. Compared to the ATM industry, if you compare at ATM in the 1990s and now, there is no change. You can only deposit cash, withdraw cash. That's all. Nothing else. Nothing else can be done in that. Nothing else is required. But in a car, if you look at, the technology is being transformed on a day-to-day basis. So I found that systems, automotive systems are really exciting, and found an opportunity. If we are able to develop something in that area, I thought that would work. With all that confidence and the relationship I built in the I would say starting from 2010 to 2006 to 2015 period, working in 14 period, working in those companies, working with the car makers, working with the whole ecosystem, I thought, okay, this is the right time. I decided to start something my own. That's how I started Acsia Technologies.
You were in hardcore industry for close to 9 years.
Yeah. more than 9 years, I would say.
And then you moved out on your own.
Yes.
Do you think it is worthwhile to work in a good company or in a medium-sized company and then start your own business, or start all right from the beginning?
I did both. I mean, so I can say when I started my own without any such exposure, when I look at, yes.
But you would not have reached.
Would not have reached. So I would say.
Exactly. Operations.
Exactly. So finally, when we talk about entrepreneurship, when we talk about any businesses, I mean, I'm not talking about the typical businesses, trading business or anything, but when it comes to solving a customer problem, it's important to know your customer. So if you have got opportunity to do that as part of a organization doing it in the professional way, that really helps when you do it your own.
So in short, you are telling that passion alone is not enough. You need to understand the business.
Yes.
And you need to understand the process, systems, how the customer will behave, and what is the market. All these things you better get if you work in an organization. That's what you're saying, or?
Maybe there may be several examples the otherwise, but I can only talk from my experience,
yes.
in which I would say, yes, the quality processes, the systems, or even customer centricity, everything which I experienced by working in the companies like Mitsubishi, or that exposure really helped me. When I started meeting my own new set of customers, all these experiences really helped in terms of offering them the right solutions in the right manner.
Because I was in industry for 13 years before I moved to consulting.
Yeah.
So at that point, I know what the customer needs,
Yeah.
because I have sat on the other side of the table. So
Exactly.
that was very easy for me to understand them. Plus, you start at slightly higher level only, not at the lower level, because your contacts are at a higher level, your expectations are at a higher level, your offerings are also at a higher level.
I mean, when you have gained such a global exposure, and that really helps. That really helps to you think big. I mean, when I look back my early ventures in my hometown, I was thinking very small to solve a wholesale retailer's problems. I was never ever be able to think about offering a solutions to a international customer. So that change really helped, of course. So such exposure, such experience definitely helps. Yeah.
Already you have explained how you get into this domain.
Yeah.
Because normally we come across companies which are offering services to start, because your bread and butter is services. And then from there you move to products. That's the pattern which I have seen with many of the mid-sized companies. And some of the products get developed during the process of this servicing. But you have straight away gone into services. I mean, you have straight away gone into products. That's what I understand.
No. These are custom products, but these are, we don't own the IP. This all goes to the customer itself. So it is, even though it is a product development, I would say it's more like a product engineering services. It's services. So our business is still in product engineering services. So the product we develop finally goes to the customer, because it's custom product for that particular car model.
So it's each one is a separate project.
Yes, exactly.
It's not a SaaS model, or
no, not yet.
It's not a SaaS or a product.
Not yeah. So when I started, the first business plan I wrote was for developing products. But when we go through the business plan, and yes, when you write about the projections, and when you write about the customers, the prospective customers sitting in this part of the world, I'm talking about in 2000. I mean, the business plan was wrought in 2013 and period. I found it extremely difficult sitting in this part of the world and writing or developing some products for the market. But now probably it is changing, or it is it is in a much better situation. So then I thought, okay, when we start, do what you really know. That was basically writing software for someone who requests you. So that's how I started with the product engineering services, I would say.
You have always ensured that there is a cash flow.
Exactly, yeah, because that's something, because we bootstrapped from zero, I mean, since this was not backed by any other investors, we are the investors ourselves, I am the investors, then yes, it's important you continue this journey. So it's
That takes me to the next question. Yeah. See, when you meet most of the startups today, within 1 or 2 years, they are looking at evaluation. And they are looking to raise funds even if they are burning money. So very few startups are bootstrapped like you. And they don't take money. Because if you look at only large companies like Soho, they have not taken any money so far. Why did you not, how did you decide that I don't want somebody else's money? Was it because you are parting with your ownership? Or, of course, money can come in. I have seen private equity coming into our clients. But after taking some money, they have struggled to ramp up the team. And at certain point, some of the big companies here itself have decided, okay, our sanction at that point was, say, private equity was willing to give 30 crores. At 15 crores, they stopped. Because when you draw money, your ownership is going away.
Yeah.
Why did you decide not to take any angel investment or any other fundings?
Yeah, so one thing is, I can be very open, ignorance. Because I didn't know about, when I started, I mean, even though I know the possibilities, I never attempted it because I thought, okay, our kind of business may not be exciting for, because this is not, I'm not developing any products, because this is a product engineering services. I never thought like, okay, a PE or typically a PE would be interested in that. I mean, this was my assumption. I never validated that. I mean, now there are so much discussions going on. Now I understand these are also, I mean, if there is if it is a profitable product engineering services which has a potential to scale up, there are opportunities. But those days, I would say my lack of knowledge about that, and fortunately, after the initial, whatever the hurdles or the challenge period, there was continuous revenue coming in, which also helped. I mean, yes, of course, we have been I talked about my early days of getting the profit and reinvesting in the company. So that principle continued till now. So that's exactly, I would say I was the investor for my own company. Yeah.
Coming back to ramping up of your operations, which in your typical language is called scaling up. Or
yeah.
What are the challenges you face? Because I have seen people taking money from private equity, not able to build up teams, and even though they have customers. And what are the challenges? Probably you have challenges in building teams, then getting enough talent, attrition. How do you look at all these things? How do you solve these things?
It's a continuous,
it's an ongoing
process. So, I mean, when we started, it was with less than 10 members in Technopark. Even getting an office space in Technopark itself was a big challenge, because there were we were looking for a smaller office space that was not available. Starting from there, even getting the right resources. If you are not an established brand, people will. I mean, we can't blame them, but it's extremely difficult to attract talent. So
the marriage market is a Technopark employee.
yeah. So it was extremely challenging at that moment. But I would say, I mean, once we decided to take this path, I thought like, okay, eventually we will be able to. But when I look back, what really worked is some of the values we follow as a company, and all these earlier discussed international exposure to build something for the global markets or international markets, and building something really complex. So that really helped. So engineers typically, I mean, many of the engineers, if you look at, yes, they all want to be part of really challenging opportunities. So some of the projects we took up was extremely challenging. I mean, when it comes to the automotive software, yes, we all, everywhere we talk, this is not rocket science, but this is not rocket science, but it is closer to that, I would say. I mean, any software which goes into the automotive as an electronic control unit, which controls the modern cars, it's really complex from a software point of view. So engineers really get excited to work in that, and especially working for some of the bigger brands, that also helped. So brands and challenging opportunities really help to attract the talent. And yes, I would say we were also fortunate to get some of the long-term contracts in the early days. I mean, when I say early days, soon after we starting, it took, I would say, 3 years to get one of the largest contracts. So those days, when I look back, the brands, for example, we got opportunity to work for one of the best brands in the automotive world. So that, plus the extreme challenge as in the project, excited people, that helped us to attract them. And as long as we were able to continue to provide such challenges, the people stayed.
Okay. Coming back to the question that you have now started looking at external funding. Some time past, I had a discussion with a person called Natarajan. We call him Nat. He was Helion India managing partner. Later on, he was Ratan Tata's fund manager. So he always used to say that, look, there is only value. There is no valuation. Yeah. If somebody comes to him and say that my company is valued at this, he will put the first red flag. Mm-hmm. Because there is only value, not valuation. How do you see such a, because everybody in the startup ecosystem or the mid-tier companies, they all negotiate on the valuation. Yeah. How do you react to?
So let me talk about the value first, because I am still not sure about to answer to the valuation part. So the value...
I'll just give one more thing.
Yeah.
We have a value business only. We don't have a valuation. Because Wembu is very, very clear on that.
Yeah. That's
till now.
Also, yeah. So when I look at, I mean, why we exist is mainly because our customers see a value in us. So we asked, I mean, we did this exercise. We do this exercise every time. And when we were thinking about, I mean, near to the 10 years, we were thinking about the next growth path and all. So that's the time we asked our customers, why do you do the business with us? Or so that's when we also realized the value we bring in, or the value we basically offer to solve some of the complex problems in the industry. So yes, of course, they can get the solutions. I'm talking about when we talk about the European car makers. They can get these solutions everywhere. But when we asked these questions to some of the world's leading car makers and their engineering heads and solutions, they said, okay, they see something very unique in the company. Unique in the company in terms of, like, one is the willingness to take the challenge. Willingness to take up the challenging problems and solve that. Second is going that extra mile. I talked about the value systems we follow in the company. We internally call IPUR. IPUR means I stands for integrity, P stands for passion, U stands for unity, respect, and excellence. And this is reflected to the customers internally, that drives the company forward. So, and when we talk about excellence, customers see that. I mean, every engineer put their best efforts to go that extra mile and to offer what customer has asked or something extra, and definitely with a passion. Agility of in terms of like taking decisions, and of course to when we take up, especially in the automotive industry, one of the biggest challenges once we start the project. Typically, the lifetime of the development of a new car used to be 5 years. Now it is shrinking. That's what one of the biggest challenges in the industry. While this development is going on, your competitor comes up with a new car, new model, new feature, then we are under pressure. I mean, the car maker is under pressure to bring the same feature into your, their own car, means which brings a changes into the frozen specification to add new features, means you need to be agile. If you go exactly with the contracts, sometimes this may not be possible. So it is the flexibility, agility we offer. This is also another value they have highlighted. So generally, when we look back from a customer point of view, yes, there are a lot of values we offer, which is one reason for them to consider us. I'm talking about some of the world's leading car makers.
Of course, the tech industry has been riding on the cost arbitrage for a long time.
Yeah.
So you mean to say that we are on the sunset on the cost arbitrage and moving into the value services?
Definitely. Some of the the cost of the services from India is not cheap at the moment. I'm talking about really complex problems. When we talk about high-performing real-time systems development, which has got a liability. If something goes wrong, you are liable. The car maker is liable, the company who produced that particular part is liable, the company who developed the software is liable, means is a very expensive game. Means if something goes wrong, millions of cars needs to be recalled, which causes a huge liability. So there is a cost of development going up. Now if you look at our Indian rates is comparable to Eastern Europe. They say, we Eastern Europe countries like Poland or Romania, it is even comparable. Means we are not, there is no much cost arbitrage.
The cost arbitrage
is gone.
So it's an open market now.
Open market, but at the same time, it's an opportunity for India, mainly because the talent availability. Trained manpower, yeah, that's exactly, yeah.
Okay, I was looking at the net addition of employees of the big software companies and the mid-tier companies. The last quarter, except TCS, of course, TCS is going through another major attrition process, or what they call it differently. All were net negative. Wipro was negative. Infosys was just small negative. But if you look at the mid-tier companies after that, they have ramped up recruitment. They were all positive. Do you see a major shift in talent coming out of the big 5 or 6 companies and getting into the, because all these companies work on a pyramid shape,
Yeah.
Everybody cannot go up. So there will be some attrition at some point. But are these mid companies, including yours, going to get benefited out of that?
If we are, yes, certain sectors definitely will be affected, I believe. I'm not an expert to talk about every sector, but generally what is happening is, yes. But from India point of view, since we are working with some of the major markets like Europe and US, what I see, especially from Europe, there is a huge movement to move the complex work to India. This has started long back. Some of the big players have identified this opportunity long back. But the medium and small companies in Europe, they are also feeling the heat, and they have decided to move many of their engineering, I mean, when it comes to the software, move to India. So I'm talking mainly about the embedded systems from point of view. So this is creating an opportunity for, but when they move, they may not move to the larger companies. Either they want to try to set up by their own, I mean, we call GCCs big and small. Otherwise, they want to partner with companies small and big. That's one reason, probably, I would say, that small and medium companies are ramping up, because all this work is getting moved to India. This is a reality at the moment. Every companies who have completely ignored India in the past is seriously considering India as because India is the next biggest opportunity where the talent is available. To answer to the other part, I am not very sure. I mean, small and medium company would be in a position to afford to hire back or hire some of the resources from a larger companies. I don't know. I'm not sure about that.
But the projections say that the mid-tier companies are going to have higher profits in the coming quarters, because a lot of work is coming to them, which is getting moved away from the biggies.
Yeah.
So you see there are a lot of R&D happening.
Yes.
So do you think Trivandrum will have a share of that?
Of course.
Or in which way this city can benefit?
So, yeah, we can't compare with definitely with Bangalore.
I know that you have been passionate in bringing the auto
of course, yeah. So
the
yes.
ecosystem to Trivandrum.
Correct. Yeah, I think if you look at the history of Trivandrum is known for, you talked about Keltron, Brajesh was talking about Transmatic, and look at the VSSE as a great organization which is built in early 1960s, which all created an ecosystem already in Trivandrum. Probably we were a bit late to leverage that, I would say. Yes, Technopark was a great initiative to bring the companies. But when we talk about the high quality R&D and R&D related development, there is definitely a huge potential, especially in the area of embedded systems and related software development. Because people understand that. I mean, there is a history in the city, and that can be further leveraged, is what I believe. It can be in the area of, of course, automotive is a big challenge because yes, the current ecosystem is very small, but aerospace. Look at, the now organizations like ISRO is also open to commercializations and doing commercializations and involving private companies. So that's an opportunity, I believe, in this city.
So which are the areas probably you will diversify, or you will stick to this auto ecosystem? We
really wanted to stick to the automotive. That was when I started the company, that was the real passion. But automotive industry is also going through a lot of disruptions, I would say. I mean, now, earlier I talked about the typical timelines of 5 to 7 years to develop a new car. That was the standard set by the German car makers. I mean, the whole industry was very comfortable with that, like in a 5-year new car being launched. So, but now it is changing, heavily changing. From a 60 months timeline to 18 months timeline. The most happening in the automotive industry is 18 months, every 18 months or 12 to 18 months, a new car model is launched in China. So that is heavily disrupting the market.
I was reading yesterday when Elon Musk's company launches one model, BYD at the same time launches 3 or 4 models.
Exactly, yeah. So yes, in this automotive industry, they call China speed. I mean, if you go to Europe and attend...
At a very low cost.
True.
BYD is half the cost of the other cars.
True, yeah. BYD is one of the I think, only profitable electric car maker in China at the moment. But eventually, I think rest will make it. But what is happening is from a 60 months timeline for a new car model to 18 months at a lower cost. And if they are able to sell these cars globally, that will definitely disrupt the market. So this may hit probably 5 years down the line. That's when I thought, okay, it's time to think about where whatever the expertise we have developed can be utilized. So we are seriously discussing about that. Of course, aerospace is one industry. I mean, like whatever happened in the automotive in the past is also similarly happening in the aerospace industry. I mean, when we interact with the aerospace experts, we understand that the pace at which they make new launch vehicles, advanced launch vehicles, and even micro and bigger satellites is progressing much faster than before. So that's an opportunity, I believe. So if there is an opportunity to diversify, aerospace is one area.
Defense?
Defense, of course. I mean, if you look at aerospace and defense, yes, there is so much in common when it comes to the technology. So, I mean, I talked about the automotive grade. The products going into the automotive is known as the automotive grade, which means the electronics should work from minus 40 degrees to plus 85 degree. But when it comes to the military grade, slightly complex. I mean, military or aerospace grade is completely different story. So it is a level up, next level up, I would say, in terms of the complexity of the electronics and software. But that's an opportunity we are also looking forward to.
My exposure to automobiles is mostly because I sit on the family board of one of South India's biggest distributor. So they used to tell me, because when I go for the board meetings, I look at the profitability. They used to tell that this EV adoption, before EV adoption, they see that hybrid adoption catching up. And then probably a lot of EVs may be eaten up by hydrogen adoption. I don't know much about it. And they also say that the Indian automobile industry, your IC engines will go away, but the actual dealer revenue comes from
IC engine.
The repairs.
Yeah.
So the dealership model is, if you go and book a Benz, anywhere you take, there is no discount. The discounts are uniform. Only the dealer shows you, he gets the thing. So do you think there is a major disruption in this automobile industry, and what do you see the future? The EVs coming up in a big way, because even today EVs are mostly in India on the two-wheeler segment, because your battery technology doesn't allow you to go beyond say 350 or 400, except BYD has got that, because BYD initially was a battery company. So accidentally they went into automobiles. So how do you see the future of this evolving from because you have the inside view, we have the gallery view only.
So you talked about the service companies. In a typical fuel-based ICE engine, the number of parts ranging from 20,000 to 25,000, and the lifetime of a car is on an average 15 years. That definitely makes sure, I mean, there is a business model for the car maker, even they are making the parts, and the service industry. When the number of parts are high and the wear and tear is high, then there is a business model.
There's a lot of money there.
A lot of money existed there. And when it comes to an electric vehicle, the number of parts is less than 8,000. And that is every company, I mean BYD and Tesla is continuously innovating to bring down the number of parts. And when the number of parts are very less and the number of moving parts are very less, you can imagine how the service industry will get benefited out of that. I think so electric, if that becomes a huge success, so this is going to be the scenario. Car maker will not make money, service industry will not make money, all the benefit will go to the usage. But I don't think electric will replace the entire fuel-based engine. If you look at yes, there is a huge supply chain challenges in that, and there is a lots of challenges in terms of the infrastructure. I mean, now if you look at the fuel stations, similar to that, if there are no enough, I don't think in the near future we will have enough charging stations. More
and
than
the grid may not support that.
and that much energy is not
In the US
being
itself,
generated.
there is a complaint that grid is not going to support it if your number goes up.
Yeah. So what is happening in Europe? So the typical, this is the insider view or inside view. No car maker is making same level of profit like a fuel-based engine when it comes to the electric vehicle. So some of these traditional players are slowly going back to the fuel-based engine. So I think hybrid may be the future. Definitely satisfies the whole business model because the number of parts are more when it comes to a hybrid car. And this will give the benefit of electric. This will also give the the flexibility of the fuel-based engine. And yes, everybody gets the benefit in a hybrid car.
Now, in the early days, when I was using an ambassador car, almost everything was mechanical.
Yeah.
Even your signal was, you have to pull the signal. On the right side, it will jump up. Then it became electric. So, how much of the car's cost is now mechanical part and how much is electronics? And how do you see that ratio going? Which direction is it going?
So electronics and software, when you buy a new car, I'm talking about the luxury segment, say whether it is a BMW or Mercedes or any of that segment, even a Volkswagen car or that range, you are paying maybe 40% of the money for electronics and software currently. And I think maybe 5 years down the line, it may be 50-50 or you will be paying lesser. And in the case of an electric vehicle, you pay more for electronics.
Okay, out of that 50, a portion will be hardware like sensors and those kinds. And how much will be the split of software? Or is it the software split going up?
Software is going up. Software is getting, I would say, yeah. Because electronics is getting cheaper. Now, if you look at the PCs which you have been using in the past,
these are becoming cheaper.
So it's basically a unit economics. If there is a bigger volume, this gets cheaper. But in the case of software, I think it is software is getting more and more complex, and the volume is also drastically increasing. Basically, it is adding a lot of convenience to the user. So you need more and more software for that. The software volume is going up, but the electronics, what you require in the car, is getting shrinking. So I would say, it's mainly because the compute power is going up.
Okay.
Means in a typical car on the road, a luxury segment car has got nearly 80 computers, which will maybe in the future will be less than 20 or 10. Means electronics is getting reduced, but the software is going to be increased heavily.
Let me ask you, going from here, when are you going to have private equity coming in? Because I have seen private equities coming in, and once there was a meeting, the recipient was saying private equity is one monkey sitting on your body, and next phase is IPO, where monkeys are all over your body.
Yes.
So how do you see your trajectory? Whether, there is one more scenario probably, a strategic investor. Suppose a very big auto company comes and teams up with you. Where do you think you will travel like?
So I would say, so the dream is always to go public and get listed. This is again mainly because when you talk about so many monkeys, it's I don't know. But
a lot of people are living with all these monkeys.
Yeah. As long as you are doing right, I think
Yes.
the monkeys won't create any harm is what I believe. So I mean, I believe in creating the right set of processes and highest quality of governance in the company. This is every day now we are trying to achieve that continuously. So, I mean, in that case, going for public after probably a PE could be the right path. But there are a lot of discussions happening with strategic investors at the moment. But I mean, it's a when it comes to that, I think it's a marriage for forever. So we also need to find the right partner for that when we go for that. So I would say the ideal path would be a PE and then IPO probably.
Yeah, PE will decide your
Yeah.
value. Normally, when a PE comes in, that sets up the value, and then you are ready for IPO. So you are, I would say, typically in a courtship situation now. Many people are looking at you, you are looking at them.
Yeah. Correct.
No relationship is established.
Yes.
Okay. Let me ask you, what are your advices to startups? Because we come across startups from colleges, because in TiE we have a college, school program. Then we have a university program. Then we have women's program. Then we have Capital Cafe, which takes all sorts of startups applications, because that is what you call a nursery for our Kerala Angel Network, which invests. So, what is your general advice or any specific advice to these people?
I mean, when we talk about whether it is a product or a services, knowing your customer is something very important. Probably in these terminologies, we call it as product market fit. So identifying that product market fit is something the most important. And when I look at my own journey, making it profitable as quickly as possible is something very the next important. I mean, knowing your customer, knowing the product market fit, and then making sure that, I mean, whether it is J curve or whatever curve, don't go that deep in the initial phases, so that you come out of that very quickly. So I would say these are
which means you don't subscribe to the idea of burning more brings you more valuation. That's what is happening with most of the startups. They burn money more and they jack up the valuations. That's not a sustainable business.
That depends on the business. That depends on the problem you are trying to solve. I mean, when we look at, say Amazon, for example.
It usually happens in D2C, not to B. You are in B2B. B2B is always you are looking for cash.
Correct.
The other one, you are creating customers, burning money to create customers and showing that which is your valuation.
True. Yeah. I mean, if you probably, I mean, all these investors getting attracted, seeing the potential. So the word potential is something very important to highlight. If there is the right potential, you can definitely burn money and create the user base and leverage later on to generate profit. If that potential exists, yes, it's worth. If you are not very sure about the potential, then I would say I'm not that key. I would say I'm not a fan of.
You are not in that school.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bit a scary game.
Okay, I
always think investor money as my money. I mean, if you are burning whoever's money, if you are burning someone's money, then you should be answerable to that. That's the point.
I forgot one question. In TiE, we have this Kerala Angel Network. We have invested in a company which is into driverless cars.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see the prospects of driverless cars in India? Because in the street you have any number of variables. Cows are coming, dogs are crossing, and in the US it is very regulated streets or pathway, highways and things like that. With so much of variables, how do you see the Indian driverless startups going? Because what we understand at the moment is They may be more in a regulated environment like ports, moving things
Exactly.
and things like that. How do you see the future of this driverless?
There is definitely an opportunity in the controlled environment. I mean, in a bigger factory or bigger campuses or in like a port, for example, there is definitely an opportunity
Your
for
variables are very low.
very low. And when we talk about on the streets, so yes, even yesterday there is a discussion started by Elon Musk. He's saying that his technology is far better than, I mean, talking about the sensors or sensors in the cars. He's using only the vision, I mean, the camera. I mean, Tesla is using only the vision, but rest of the cars are using lidar and radar and so much expensive, all possible sensing mechanisms. And he's talking, even after that, nobody is able to kind of like come up with the fully autonomous, we call the level 5 autonomous cars, which is, I feel this may be possible, but the earlier projection was 2030 before COVID, but soon after the COVID times, people changed that timeline. And
If it happens,
yeah.
it will happen in China first, because you
Maybe,
have
yeah.
in a democracy like here, you have so many things
Yeah.
happening in the street.
Yeah. So to make it very simple, this is categorized in industry like level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, and 5. So whatever the Tesla cars we are talking about or Waymo cars, we are talking about up to level 3. They have, or level 2 plus, level 3. I mean, if there is some decision making goes wrong, someone has to take over the control. That's how it is all designed. It is not designed to run fully autonomous in every conditions. I mean, level 3 is what they are
This
claiming.
is something like your semi-automatic.
Yeah, something like that. But what is happening in China is they have gone beyond that. I mean, I was actually listening to some of the demos in Shanghai Auto Show and all. So it's amazing that they are moving much faster. I mean, the China speed is helping them, or probably more people are working on that, and they. But when you ask about Indian scenario, I'm not very sure. But in the controlled environment, that may be possible, and several other features in an autonomous cars, which is also giving enough convenience to the user, like lane change notifications or automatic parking. Such things may definitely come already there.
So we cannot dream immediately of a car going in front of. That's not in the immediate future.
Yeah, I mean, technology is, but if you look at whatever the technological advancements happened in the last 20 years, it's highly commendable. So in that case, we can't say no to it, but yes, it's going to be time consuming, I guess.
And finally, what do you think the ecosystem has to improve, or the government support, or those kinds of things? What do you think is lacking, or what is needed?
Of course, this academia definitely need to catch up with the industrial needs, because I talked about the speed at which industry is moving forward. So this is not just in the automotive. Everywhere, I think the industry is moving so fast, and maybe, I mean, making sure that the right talent is made available. Next is, we talk about all this research in these areas, but very less is happening. I mean, when we talk about, I mean, even we also have a limitations to spend money on R&D. We need to develop a new technology. So I think if the government has taken some initiatives to promote R&D, then that will definitely attract industries to that place. I mean, I think if you look into any other places where that ecosystem, the highly complex systems are being developed, whether it is Israel or any of that places, yes, there is definitely a R&D focus, and R&D is helping the industries back.
So that industry academia linkage.
Industry academia and R&D connect needs to be improved, I believe, and probably only government and universities can fund such R&D activities is what I think.
Because I frequently go to Chennai IIT incubator.
Yeah.
The kind of activity there, and the academia can take advisory shares in the companies.
Yeah,
So that really helps.
definitely, but that is also very limited. I mean, only very few IITs at the moment are doing in that.
Yes.
If say our universities and campuses can also start doing this, definitely. So that will definitely help to increase the availability of the right talent and R&D results, which will help to build the products out of that or build a company out of that.
Okay. Thank you very much. We will open up the floor for questions.
By knowing your passion, all those things, will such customer allow us to do the innovation or R&D, or we have to just do what they ask to do? And the second thing, in scalability part, like say, can we go to the other competitor and make him as a customer? Is that possible? So, two questions.
Currently, we are an R&D partner to one car maker. So, in that case, yes, they expect us to innovate. I mean, every time, that is the expectations. I mean, but when it comes to a product which is defined, you can't change in the way you want because they have designed a set of requirements which needs to go into that particular car. You can't change it. But when you work with the R&D division of that particular customer, the only expectation is to innovate, to solve. Second question, partnering with competitor. I'm not sure if both sides agrees. Yes, that is the way forward. I mean, especially in the smaller and medium-sized companies, that is a possibility. I mean, if this is complementary skills, for example, our company is working on certain control units. We are not. I mean, in the car itself, there are huge areas. But if we are working on the embedded systems, if some company that may be a competitor, but if they are working on the cloud-based solutions, and if we are able to combine our skill sets, it's the right synergy. And any customer will be very happy to approach such consortium or such group of companies.
Partly answer, I have seen only one company which manufactures products for competitors. That company is in Cochin, SFO. SFO manufactures, and the competitors go there and get products manufactured in two separate places, but some of the workers may be common, but the IP is very, very strictly with the two parts of the company.
Inside our office, it's all physically separated for each customer, physically separated units. I mean, because we work on some technology which is going to come maybe 5 years down the line. So the expectation is to keep that confidentiality. Yeah. And then we are not allowed to show it to when the other car maker visits our office. I mean, whatever released in the market, of course you can, but whatever you are working on, which is not yet released in the market, you are not supposed to share.
I have seen some companies working with software company working with a hardware partner.
Yeah.
And the hardware, I mean, you are in a common project. The hardware partner has a quarrel with the client, and you are also affected. Do you think such situations develop? Or you have no such situation?
The tier 1 world, if you look at the companies like Bosch or Continental or Harman, these are the companies making the electronics part. Sometimes they are bigger than the car maker, sometimes. So in such cases, usually fights are very less between them. But if there is such, I mean, but rarely that happens as well.
Now, I had a case where the hardware partner was blacklisted by a big telecom company.
Yeah.
The software partner insisted that unless he is brought back, I will not give the software. And finally, the telecom company bowed down.
No comments. It is a very special
very
scenario, unique scenario.
Because since you are partnering with these people.
Yes.
I heard that you spoke about the Japanese clients' importance on client centricity and customer centricity. 3 months ago, I read this in news. In Japan, a train was late by 3 seconds, and the train people, they refunded the entire money of all the travelers in the train. Do you think that that is something, I believe it's unachievable? Do you think that people can compete with such things?
I mean, I lived in Japan for nearly 5 years, and yes, it's true that the trains are running perfectly on time. Sometimes because of earthquake or such scenarios, the trains get late, but never reimburse the money. I never got that.
And I think,
But he is referring to the customer centricity. Yes. So that part, I would say, the word itself in Japanese is okiakusama, means customer, and okiakusama and kamisama means god. They treat equally, I mean, a customer like a god, whether it is big or small or anything, because they know that company is there only because of the customer. So they treat customer like a god. So.
And I'll add to that. See, I think sitting here or never having worked in Japan, we will not be able to comprehend what they mean by customer is king. They literally mean that. I can give you an example, like, we both have worked for Japanese customers for more than a decade. And in one example, for a banking project, there was a problem. And the CEO of the bank kneeled in a television broadcast, and he was seeking apology from customers because of that error. It was not a serious, huge problem like what we see here. So can you ever imagine a chairman of a bank in India kneeling ever for whatever problem there is? So that is part of their culture. But I've heard, I've never seen it, but I've heard, like, if their high-speed train Shinkansen is late by, I think, more than half a minute or
they
so,
come and apologize.
They may refund it.
They may be, but they come and apologize, whatever we call the pilot, loco pilot, or the captain, or whoever, comes to each and every compartment and apologize.
Even I don't know what you said, whether that happened or not, but they sincerely believe in that customer is the king and we are existing because of the customer, and all their activities are around that. When you work for a Japanese customer, they expect a similar behavior from you also. The way they are accountable to their customers, we should also be accountable to them.
If flight is on time, they will say dash standard time. When it is late, there is no announcement.
No. Japan, it is different.
It's different. I mean, these bullet trains traveling 500, 600, 800 kilometers reaches without any minute delay. I mean, it's amazing. That is possible.
Yeah.
That is possible is what they show.
People also assemble to the railway station 2 minutes before that only.
It is unbelievable. Like, if you, we have watched it once. We were traveling together from, I think, Tokyo to Omika was the place where we were working. And in the timetable, it was written like 6:19 p.m. is when the train arrived. It arrived only at 6:19 p.m.
And people come 2 minutes early only.
Exactly.
That's all what is
You are not in the station half an hour early.
That's all what is required. And it works. It reflects in all their activities.
Yeah.
It works like a clock. Everything.
Yeah, you're into software, but are your clients affected by the current tariffs going on? Is there a slowdown in business?
Yes. Automotive, I can only talk from the automotive industry because we work in the software industry. Software is not affected by tariffs. But the software goes into the cars, and the cars are affected by the tariffs. I mean, some of the regions, of course, US is the biggest market, world's second largest market for automotive. So, these are the days of uncertainties, and because of these uncertainties, yes, that's also affecting the decisions in terms of starting new projects sometimes. Yes, that is affecting, I would say. But I believe this is going to be temporary. I mean, yes, the world has seen much bigger or much worse scenarios. Tariffs are not that worse.
We hope it's TACO.
I hope so.
The thing I found interesting in this conversation was we never mentioned the word AI, even though we discussed so many things in this conversation. Now, I just want your insights on one thing. How do you see, now since you already work with a lot of hardware, how do you see AI as such moving from how we use ChatGPT on the phone, to products that could serve a certain now robotics always has some utility served. I've seen pets or learning products coming out with AI. You can answer it from an automotive perspective, and also in general, what kind of products do you see coming up with a intelligence layer enabled, or how do you see that as a new market that's emerging?
Maybe I believe with the advancements of AI, this may become possible. So because what is happening in the autonomous driving scenario, or even a decision-making process of a typical autonomous driving, is completely rule-based. For example, if when the vision or the sensors detects an object, it takes a decision based on a rule. This was the scenario in the past. But with the capabilities of the new AI models coming up, which may be giving a flexibility to take decisions dynamically. To tell you an example, in the earlier autonomous driving, whatever the software written sees the ball on the street, it sees ball on the street. But the newer model will detect that, okay, if the ball is coming, it can even think that a child is behind it. Means this becoming more and more powerful and intelligent, which will give better solutions, is what we think. I mean, it is probably the future. So that might help to develop some systems which will solve Indian street scenarios as well. But AI, we are also seeing how AI can be used. We have a team currently internally currently most of the work we do are not on the feature development, but mostly on increasing the quality and the efficiency of the development. So we have taken some LLMs and fine-tuned that LLMs to suit to the automotive-related development, and which is giving higher level of efficiency. Means that we will be able to deliver systems or deliver software much faster than with a better quality. That's what currently AI is helping us, and we don't know this is moving much faster than we think. Every month a new model is released with more capabilities.
Adding to what he asked, how is AI helping expedite this? You said from 60 months to 12 months kind of thing. How is AI helping in expediting the production process and bringing newer models to the market early?
We think this will help, definitely will help. But this change has to come in the entire ecosystem. The car maker, the big elephant, should also realize that, hey, we also need to change. Then only we can also, if the car maker decides we need to release the cars in 18 months or 24 months, then this happens. Otherwise, if we only decide and we finish our software I think this will happen. This will happen. But even without any such AI, China could do that, releasing cars in 18 months. They could do that. So at least with AI, rest of the world ideally should be able to do that, is what I believe.
Yeah, because we read that one of the areas where computational fluid dynamics, for example, there is a fixed time required for completing a design, which AI is helping to do it much faster, is one example.
Yeah.
So probably that kind of developments, if you are aware, so adding to what he is asking about AI, what is the impact of AI in the automobile industry, and how is it probably helping to bring newer models faster to the market?
Yeah, I'm not an expert in that area, mechanical and all those areas, but what is happening is there is a change. Already we see that change. Everybody has started becoming aware that AI can be a tool. We call, as the name says, it's probably become a reliable co-pilot in the whole journey. So I think yes, the whole industry is going to embrace that technology and develop things faster. That's what I believe.
Are you involved in the ethical part of programming? For example, like you said, there's a ball coming and the child coming. Do you get to decide whether you break and save the child, or you swerve and hit tree or something and the person dies or whatever. But
Oh, okay. We are not into that area yet, I would say. Yes, we have a small team working in the autonomous driving, but not on the decision-making process, but on the lower platform software side, which is not involved in the decision-making process. But I think every car maker, if you look at, they are the customer or the safety is what they talk about. I mean, they give highest level of importance to the safety, whether it is for the passenger or even to the even an animal on the street. So they make sure. I mean, that's how every car maker is deciding to develop, but sometimes the errors happens. That's when you see the accidents.
As the answer, since you also mentioned LLMs, I'm just out of curiosity, what are some examples that you are probably working on with fine-tuning LLMs or with super intelligence, since you mentioned?
Yeah.
Coming there, what do you see as examples for where this could fit? Now, one thing we've seen AI definitely helping is to at least build things with code. So coding as such has been disrupted majorly with a lot of tools like Cursor, which can write code on behalf of with natural language. Similarly, what do you see as, since you mentioned you were also fine-tuning LLMs, what are some examples, if you can share some?
I hope you understand what every developer likes to do, only coding. So not documentations, not any documentations, whether it is code or related to the code. So we at the moment have developed, fine-tuned some models to automate that process. You give the code, that will document it for you. So that is one thing we have achieved with highest level of accuracy, even more than 95% accuracy, with the automotive knowledge in it. And next is, when we talk about large systems, I mean, I talked about infotainment. If we talk about infotainment system, which is developed over a period of 5 years, yes, developer make mistakes, which is known as the bugs and defects. And the number of defects itself is huge. And defect management, if you look at, a typical car maker spends roughly between 100 million to 200 million for fixing the defects before launching the car. So if you are able to write or increase the quality by a factor, that means saving millions of dollars or millions of euros at the end. So that is another area where we are working. I mean, our intelligent models are now capable to look into the defect data and say, I mean, not exactly the root cause, but it gives indications to the developer what to look for to fix that. So that's some of the developments we are doing currently.
Thank you, Gigi, for the wonderful session.
Yeah, thank you.
And the great insights.
Thank you.
Can you please... So on behalf of TiE Kerala, let me thank Roy and Gigi for sharing the insights. I know 1 hour could not do more justice than what you have done today, because uncovering an entrepreneur's journey in an hour is a difficult task. But I think Roy has been able to do justice in the given time. And thank you, Gigi, for sharing the wonderful insights. And on behalf of TiE, I request Roy to hand over the gift to Gigi.